2, 1.
Welcome to Made for More Living.
One small step for man.
With Johnny Jennings.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
The fastest and most exciting hour of news, events, and real estate in Northern California.
And this is a fact that was proved.
Online at madeformorerealty.com.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Get ready. Here we go.
So Matt, Dave Ramsey would be proud. You know how he always talks about having no credit score. Do not want a credit score. Well, I think he might have had such a profound impact on the credit industry that they came out with a new credit scoring system. So
really?
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if you have credit cards, don't have credit cards, you are still going to have a credit score. You don't have to go out and get debt, essentially, to develop a credit score. And here today to talk to us about that is Miss Sarah Perkins with Blue Water Credit. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
So talk to us a little bit about this new scoring model that's rolling out. And let's start with kind of how it came to be. Like why is there now something challenging FICO?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people have heard of FICO. It's been around forever. It's been used in like 90% of lending decisions for decades now. And it came up from the Fair Isaac Corporation, and they essentially took the information from the credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and created the scoring model. Well, the credit bureaus were kind of like, well, hey, this is our information. Why don't we come up with our own model to compete with the FICO score? So it's been around for a little bit, but since July, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac gave the okay to start using it for mortgage lending decisions.
Oh, wow. So Vantage has been around for longer than July.
Yes. So if you look at Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, those are the scoring models that are typically used for those scores. So they've been used, but they really haven't been used in the world of lending, but more of just kind of an educational credit score.
So when Fannie and Freddie said it's okay to start using Vantage, that's kind of when the score has become more popular, like when people are paying attention to it more?
Correct.
And so Fannie and Freddie, they're the major people who originate loans or back loans. And so that's... is anybody officially using Vantage? Because I know that it's one thing for Fannie and Freddie to say, yes, let's do it, but it's another thing for like lenders to start incorporating it.
So being that it just rolled out with the okay in July.
And it came out of nowhere, right, in July? It wasn't like they planned it in July.
So it's been in the works for a couple years because they have been looking at data to make sure that it is predicting defaults and riskiness of borrowers. So they were taking a look at loans given during the pandemic and applying that scoring model where FICO was the scoring model and seeing kind of how it compares. And the real neat thing was it actually predicted about 50% more defaults than FICO did. So I think with that kind of data, they said, hey, let's roll this out. And it became a scoring model where people that didn't use the traditional credit and getting into debt, those people have a better chance of now being able to create a credit score and get into the home buying market.
Wonderful. So yes, let's talk about that. What makes the Vantage score better for people who have low or not low, but little credit history?
So the one thing that Vantage does is it incorporates rent, utilities, and cell phones bills that you can put onto your credit to help create a credit score. Those things, we have seen them on the credit bureaus, but FICO usually doesn't recognize them in mortgage lending decisions. But with the Vantage 4.0, they are recognizing those kind of payments and trying to reach a different demographic of people that don't traditionally use a credit card. The other cool thing with this score is you only need 1 month of some type of credit history to create a score, where FICO required you to have 6 months of credit history. So now you can get into the market even faster.
That is really cool. So rather than taking 6 months, it takes 1 month. They're already pulling your utilities, your cell phone, and so now they're compiling the score.
Yes.
To hopefully then qualify for a mortgage.
Yeah, and another cool fact was when they took someone who had a 620 score with Vantage versus a 620 score with FICO, the 620 score with Vantage actually had less defaults and better lending capabilities to go to those people than the FICO did.
That's a good point. So are the numbers the same?
The numbers are the same as far as what the range is, but they do kind of look at different. Well, they look at the same things, but they weigh those things differently as opposed to credit utilization, payment history. So they assign different weights to those categories, which can help fluctuate the score to go one way or another.
So like a lot of like FHA type lenders or loans, you need some, and I'm not a lender, I just pretend to be one on radio, but a score above 580, 620, somewhere around there. Are those the same kind of guidelines with the FICO score versus the, because I understand what you're saying, like, so they are weighing different things differently. So a late payment might be weighed less with Vantage than with FICO. The length of time that you've had credit might be weighed differently between FICO and Vantage. But would they still qualify with the Vantage score at 580, or would that number have to be higher?
See, I don't know if that's going to be left up to the individual lenders or FHA, but
Too soon to tell.
Yes, too soon to tell. But right now, if you go head-to-head with like a 620 score, you're better off choosing someone with a Vantage 620 score than a FICO 620 score.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy. Okay, so Dave Ramsey, you may be having a positive impact overall. People can just use their utility bills, which they're going to have, cell phone bills, which they're going to have, and they don't have to go out and essentially buy a credit card or get into debt.
Correct.
Or start building that credit score. Well, when we come back, we will be talking about, actually, let's not come back. Let's just keep going.
Okay.
FICO's fighting back because what happened was, as you briefly explained, TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, they're pulling the data. FICO has been using that data for a long time to create this score that we're all familiar with, our FICO score. But now those three credit bureaus are saying, no, you know what, we're going to create our own score and we're going to call it Vantage. And FICO doesn't like that very much. So what's FICO doing?
Yeah, there's a little bit of drama going on in the credit world right now. So a couple things that FICO did is they are now saying that they're going to incorporate buy now, pay later type of accounts onto their scoring model.
So like the Klarna type of
the Klarna, the Affirms, the Afterpay. So again, they're targeting a demographic maybe that doesn't traditionally use the credit card, but trying to use these type of mini loans to help people create scores. So again, one thing that they're trying to do to compete with the Vantage score. Another thing that just came out, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Typically, a lender would go to the credit bureaus to pay to get the credit report and the credit score. And that information is ultimately from FICO. Well, FICO said, you know what? No more. We're cutting out the middleman, and you guys can come straight to us and pay us for those credit reports and credit scores. They're offering it, I think, for a little bit of a discount, trying to push people more towards staying with the FICO score as opposed to the Vantage. And then you got Equifax and then fought back and said, well, hey, we're going to give you the Vantage score for no cost at all. So it's kind of really shaken up, and we'll have to see how it turns out.
Credit wars.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. But at the end of the day, I think this is good for the consumer from how I'm being explained.
Yeah, correct. I think it's creating a healthy competition. FICO has had a monopoly on the industry for way too long. Again, they haven't been able to incorporate people that are rural areas, maybe the younger generation that are maybe just hesitant to get into debt. Again, thank you, Dave Ramsey,
there you go.
for that. But that doesn't mean that they are risky borrowers. And so I think this is going to be good for the home buying industry in a whole, because you're going to have more qualified people that are going to be able to go out there and purchase a home. More
qualified and better qualified, like you said during the pandemic, 50% higher, was it delinquencies or bankruptcies?
They were able to predict 50% more defaults. And then right now, when you look at the two scores, they probably are 4% better at determining who's risky and safe between the FICO score, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking about millions of loans, that 4% makes a big difference.
Absolutely. So a lot of people are worried about an 08 happening again, like loosening credit restrictions. Anybody can get a loan, but that's not what's happening here with Vantage. They just have figured out a better way to unlock more potential buyers who are still very qualified, who can still legitimately make the mortgage payment. It's just now we're looking at the problem differently.
Yes.
So now more people can qualify.
Correct.
Wonderful. And then this is also good for buyers who are like on the bubble or maybe have last minute things coming up on that pop up on their credit score, because you said it can sometimes take longer to get things removed with FICO or to build a credit score with FICO.
So one thing that Vantage was trying to do was not penalize the consumer for like these one-off late payments. It happens. Someone misses one payment because life happens. The auto pay got mixed up. We've seen people where the mortgage increased because the escrow account wasn't covering enough, and then they weren't paying enough for their mortgage payment, and it became late. So that's where Vantage stepped in and say, hey, we're not going to penalize you because one missed payment can drop your score 100 points with FICO. I think I was telling you a story. I had a gentleman out of the Bay Area, had a $1.8 million loan, qualified for it.
So starter home in the Bay.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
And so he's getting ready to close. And just like every home buying process, they check your credit one more time before you close. And unfortunately, all of a sudden, there was this brand new collection that popped up for an AT&T wireless account. And he had no idea what it was. Unfortunately, he was so far into the process, he wasn't able to back out. So he had to take a higher interest rate, and his mortgage essentially went up by $1,000 a month. Ouch, for sure. So then he came to us and said, well, I don't want to keep paying this extra $1,000. I need to take care of this collection. So I was able to negotiate the amount down, plus get a deletion. So now his score has bumped back up 100 points, and he's working with his lender on how quickly he can refi.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And so does that happen often, though, like the whole random thing popping up?
It does, especially when you're talking about these Comcast, wireless, type of accounts, because they're notorious for being placed with a collection agency. That collection agency will report on your credit report for a couple months, and then they will pull the account back from that particular collection agency and then place it with someone new if they aren't able to collect it. Well, if you're not checking your credit regularly, which most people aren't, you might not even notice that that's happening. So maybe with this gentleman, when he went to go qualify for the loan, it was in that in-between process where it wasn't reporting on his credit report, and then it happened to get placed with a new agency and then popped right back up.
Man.
So those are the type of bills and collections that we always recommend taking care of, because even if we can get them removed through like a dispute process, it doesn't mean it can't be placed with another agency who by law can then re-report it to your credit report.
So you can dispute it with one collection agency and then it gets moved to a different collection agency?
Correct, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you're saying just pay it, figure it out.
Pay it. Hopefully they will agree to a deletion. If they don't, those are the type of things that we work on at Blue Water Credit. Got
it. But that's so... Bringing it back to the Vantage, if they were using the Vantage model, that one random little thing would maybe have not impacted his credit score as much?
Possibly. That is a collection. They're more forgiving on those one-off late payments,
okay.
But there are scoring models out there. If you pay a collection, your score will go up. Right now, like if you pay a collection on the mortgage scoring model with FICO, it's the same as having an unpaid collection. So you're not rewarded for paying a collection off unless it gets deleted. So there are some different variations of, how they count those type of accounts between the Vantage and the FICO models.
Well, hey, let's talk about that when we come back. Ways that you can boost your credit scores, ways that Blue Water helps you with all that, and ways that you can do it for free. Back after this.
So as we enter the scary season of Halloween, I'm sure nothing scares you more than putting your house on the market, right? Because you've got all of those repairs that need to be done to get your home ready, right? Like the backyard, the front yard, not to mention everything in the house, the kitchen, the bathroom, the floors, the garage, the plumbing, the electrical. Well, guess what? Here comes Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty. They're like the Ghostbusters. They're going to take away all those fears and worries and scares when it comes to selling your home, because they have this amazing program where they can sell your home in as-is condition. In fact, even better, they're going to give you at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. That means you don't have to do any costly home repairs, no staging, no organization, no open house. I know what you're thinking. It's too good to be true, but it's not. Many folks have taken advantage of this great opportunity, but it won't last very long. There's a reason why they have over 1,000 5-star Google reviews. It's because they get homes sold fast and for the most money possible. So if you're looking for a way to make it less scary, an easy, simple, fast process, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and find out how you can get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
So we are back with Sarah Perkins with Blue Water Credit, the premier credit repair shop in the Sacramento region. right? You guys have like so many reviews.
Yeah, so we've been around since 2008. We service all of California. Actually, we service the whole country with the exception of like 2 states that don't allow credit repair. So
There's 2 states?
I know there's, Georgia, and then there's really strict laws. I believe it's like in Oregon or Washington where that put a cap on the fees that you can charge where it just doesn't even make sense to
operate.
Yeah.
Okay. But other than that, other than those 2 random states, you guys operate nationwide. I almost said worldwide. You operate nationwide. Yeah. And honestly, you guys have been around forever.
Yeah. People
come and people go, but Blue Water credit remains.
Yep.
And it's just because you guys do a great job.
Thank you.
But what I want to talk about, you had some interesting facts about Gen Z.
Yes.
And how like they don't even know what influences a credit score. They don't even know what their credit score is. And yet they have on average, what do you say, 70% of them have a credit score above 670. Yep. Is that right?
Yep. So yeah, I was doing a little research and it was crazy to find out that almost over half of Gen Z have no idea what's even on their credit or what their credit score is. And then maybe 20% have never even taken a look at their credit. So, but despite that.
But they're rocking it.
But they're rocking it. So maybe they're
just. You said 670? That's not fantastic credit score.
Hey, that's better than what, your typical person is.
Is that true?
That you can get a loan.
Yeah.
You can buy a house with that.
Yeah.
But still, at a young age, we're talking about from 13 to 28 years old, right? So they haven't necessarily had enough time to cure that bad credit. So I would assume it would even be higher.
1997.
Yeah.
So that's the
1997 to 2012. So they'd be 28 years old. So in my mind, like when
Come on, man. I was married. I bought 2 houses by the time I was 28.
It's true. But I think it's a different culture now. I don't think kids are as eager to actually get out and make a life for themselves. They're comfortable with parents paying for everything.
But at least they have good credit scores. Right, at least.
In my opinion, I don't think 670
I don't know if you can answer this, Sarah, but how do they even have credit scores? Like, because this is a FICO credit score?
Correct. So they must have some form of a credit card, or maybe mom and dad put them on an account. That's what I do with my kids. I add them as an authorized user to help build credit for them before they're even 18.
Well, if you're looking to adopt, I could use some help building some credit. Okay. So to Matt's point though, like they have avenues to generate debt. That's the whole reason why they have a credit score in the first place.
Correct. And I mean, with the fact that I know he's saying 670 is not that high, but at the same token, you have to be able to build credit strategically. So there's certain ways to maybe 670 might be a good spot to like land if you have one good credit card, but FICO wants you to have multiple credit cards. They want you to have an installment loan. They want you to have credit that has been open 20 plus years. So it's not necessarily bad, but it could be better, but they don't know how to make it better because they have no idea what even goes into a credit score or where to even check it.
Who does though, really?
Yeah.
I mean, Blue Water clearly does, but most people don't.
Correct.
So do you mind sharing, like, kind of, at least for FICO, if somebody's looking to improve their credit score, what are some easy steps they can do? What's influencing their negative score? Things like that.
So yeah, let's start with what actually makes up a credit score. So there's 5 components of it. Number 1 for FICO is going to be your payment history. So are you making your payments on time? Do you have collections? Do you have late payments, bankruptcies? All those things are going to be a driver of that 35% of your score. So,
wow. So 1/3 of your score is payments.
Correct. So this is why when you miss one payment, it can tank 80 to 100 points overnight. So that's why it's so important to keep that payment history as clean as possible.
Okay.
Next, 30% is going to be your credit utilization. So that's where you're looking at what your balances are compared to what your credit limit is. So I think people have a tendency of putting a lot on their credit card and then not paying it off. So you're penalized for that. So where FICO likes to see it is at 30% or below, ideally at 10%. So if you're talking like $1,000 credit limit, they want you at $100 or less to get the maximum number of points in that category.
Even if you pay it off every month?
So the thing with paying it off every month is that balance has probably already been reported to the Bureau. So it gets reported when the statement comes out. So most people pay it after the statement. So it's kind of like this revolving door of paying it off, but you're not really getting the credit for paying it off because you're paying it off after it's already been reported. And then you drive the balance right back up and then pay it off. So there is some tricks to that, which I'll go into as far as how to kind of cheat the system there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 15% is going to be like a mix of credit. So they want to see a couple lines of like revolving credit, like your store cards, your MasterCard, your Visa, installment loan, which are traditionally like your auto loans, educational loans, and mortgage. So they want to see a well balance of different kind of credits to make sure you can handle different kind of payments, essentially.
Okay.
Then next is going to be the length of history that you've had these cards open for. So they want to see maybe an average of 6 years that you've had credit cards open. So they're going to take, the length that all your credit cards have been open, divide it by the number of cards that you have, and then that's how many years that you have on average. So this is why every time you open a new card, you lower that average length that your cards have been open. So we, encourage people to be very conservative with opening new credit cards and keeping their old ones open.
Open and active, or can it just be?
You want it open
there?
and active
Okay.
because after 6 months, if you're not using it, then the activity doesn't really help you. And then you run the risk of them closing the card for not using it. And then you can lose one of your oldest cards just because you don't use it anymore.
Okay.
And then the last would be your inquiries or opening new credit. That can, be 1 to 5 points for every hard inquiry, max 20 points that you can lose in that category. But, sometimes that 1 to 5 points is a difference maker in getting, a certain kind of interest rate that can, fluctuate what your house payment's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I like how you ranked it too. So it was like you started with the things that influenced it the most and then ended with the things that influenced it the least. Yeah. So that's important for people listening. Like, if you're looking to get a home loan, you can shop around, right? For home loans, what is it, 5 times in 30 days?
Usually it's like a window shop that you're allowed within the 30 days as long as you're sticking with the same kind of loan, like a mortgage lender. You can have it pulled and only be counted against you 1 time.
Okay, so I can't go out, try to apply for a mortgage, then a boat, then a car,
Yes.
then jewelry.
Yes,
okay.
correct.
Personal, okay. So if you're looking to get a good interest rate, and you're looking to shop lenders, you can certainly do that, or you can just go to JJ Mack. But if you're going to shop with multiple people, make sure you do it within that 30-day period.
Correct.
Okay. So just to recap, the big 2 was, what was the 35%
So
payments?
your payment history and then your credit utilization. So those are going to be over 50% of your score right there.
Got it. So those are the big 2. So, man, that 10%, what if you don't have a limit on your card? Like there are some cards out there that say you don't have a limit. You really do have a limit. They're just not telling you what it is. How do you play that game?
Yeah,
Any suggestions?
usually there's something reported on the credit report. I think that I know that like those Amex cards, sometimes they say they're limitless, but I don't see that many of those. But I think that at some point they have to be a revolving card that has the utilization that affects you.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one I have is one of the Amexes. And
Yeah.
they say there's no credit limit, but I found it.
Yeah.
I found the credit limit. Let's just put it that way. My spiritual gift, my wife jokes with me all the time, is spending. So that's my gift. But yeah, let's give us some tips. What are some things that people can do? What are some ways to hack the system? Not necessarily, nothing illegal, obviously, but like ways that we can use the system that's in place to our benefit.
Yes. So some of the top things I tell people, because missing payments has such a big effect on your score, putting everything on auto pay. If you want to make an extra payment throughout the month, definitely do that. But I would say the number one thing that happens is people don't have auto pay. Life happens. They forget to make a payment.
Yep.
And then next thing you know, their score goes down. So keeping everything on auto pay. Next would obviously keep your utilization low at that 10% or less. If you don't have the funds to do that, another option would be asking the creditor to give you a credit line increase. So you're essentially lowering your utilization by increasing the ceiling for what your credit limit is.
So don't increase your spending. Just
Don't increase your
the ceiling.
spending. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Another tip would be if you are lacking or thin on credit history, getting added as an authorized user is a good option. This is asking a family member or friend to add you to a specific credit card, and you essentially inherit that credit history for that particular card on your credit report. So ideally, you want a card that's been open for a while, has good payment history, they keep low utilization, because if they miss a payment or rack that card up, it's going to hurt you just as if it was your own card too.
But what if, like, you get added to a credit card, like let's say a young kid, and the credit card history is older than the kid. Like they don't care. They're still saying, hey, that's good.
Correct. So yeah, I encourage people, put your kids on it. You're going to get them a good amount of credit history before they even turn 18. But yes, that would count if they're not old enough, but that card's been open longer than them. They're still getting that credit history for it.
Oh, wow. And then just because they're an unauthorized user doesn't mean they have access to the card, right?
Correct. I tell people you don't even have to have the card in hand or give that to the person you're adding as an authorized user, because the one downside with an authorized user is if they spend on that card, they're not legally liable for that debt. You are as the actual credit card holder. So they can go on a spending spree, rack up the debt, and then they can't be not prosecuted, but come after legally from the credit card companies.
It's kind of like being a cosigner for like a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, you can still go after a cosigner and have that have a lawsuit against them, but you can't have a lawsuit against an authorized user. So be careful. Don't give the card out. Be smart about it. Hold on to the card is what I would recommend for the authorized user.
So you mentioned earlier that you pay your credit card like every couple days.
Correct.
Is that to keep the credit utilization low?
Correct. So how I mentioned that the creditors report typically once a month to the bureaus, and usually that coincides with when your statement comes out. So most people get the statement and then they have a due date maybe like a couple weeks later. So then you pay it off, then you rack up the debt again, and then it gets re-reported on the next statement. So you're not getting really credit for paying it off. So we usually say make those multiple payments throughout the month. So when that statement balance comes out, it's a lot lower than if you would have just let the debt accumulate, or go on and find when your statement date is and make a payment like a week before. So then you're actually getting credit for what you bring your credit card balance down to, whether it's 0 or under the 10% limit.
That makes sense because I pay mine off every single month.
Yeah.
But if I'm paying it off after the statement comes out, then
your utilization is essentially going to be whatever your balance is compared to your limit with that statement.
Got it. Okay, well that doesn't cost anything. You just pay it off a couple days earlier.
Correct. And you don't have to do it all the time. I mean, but if you know that you're going to be out there shopping for a loan, that is one thing you can get in the practice of doing maybe a month or two beforehand and seeing how much it helps increase your credit score.
Okay, so you've given us some options. Add people on as an authorized user, diversify your credit amount, keep the balance low, ideally below 10. If you can't keep it low, see if you can increase the limit to help with that.
Yes.
What if you're trying all these different things and it's just not enough? Like that, you need more help than just what we've outlined here. Like when is a good time to call Blue Water Credit?
So at Blue Water Credit, we do help people rebuild their credit. We're mainly working with people that do have derogatory items on their credit, whether it be late payments, collections of some kind of nature, fraud. But we are always willing to do a risk-free consultation, take a look at your credit, and let you know ways that you can improve your credit on your own, and let you know if you have items that are things that we can work on. We also do debt negotiations, so maybe you don't necessarily aren't worried about your credit score, but you have debts out there that are with collections or debt buyers that you want to negotiate down for a lesser amount, don't want to do bankruptcy. That's another service that we offer, as well as we have attorneys that help with any kind of fraud issues.
Got it. So it sounds like if you just have questions, just give Blue Water Credit a call.
Yes.
And they will help you out. What's the best way to reach out to you? Just Google Blue Water Credit or?
Yeah, so we have our website, bluewatercredit.com, our number 916-315-9190. We also have a new product out there. It's a free credit boost audit, and you can either find it on our website or yourcreditplanner.com. We'll walk you through uploading your credit report. We'll review your credit report and shoot you an email with like 3 to 5 actionable items of things that you can do on your own that we're identifying by looking at your particular credit report.
Well, that's really cool.
To increase your score, and then let you know if you do have items that we can possibly work on. And from there, you can just book that risk-free consultation with us. And it doesn't cost anything.
So where do they go to submit that?
So yourcreditplanner.com.
Okay.
And then, you do have to pull a credit report, but when you pull your own credit report, it doesn't count as a hard inquiry. It's a soft inquiry. Usually you can do one for $1 for a trial and then cancel it, upload it, and then, we have it reviewed, and then you get a real nice email back with those actionable items specific to you.
Where are some great places? Because what I've heard, Credit Karma is not that accurate. If you're looking to get an accurate credit score, where are some good places to do that?
So depending on what you're looking to do, so the first one is going to be a free website. If you're not concerned with your score, but you just want to know what's on your credit, because like we talked about, Gen Z's not checking their credit there. I don't know if it's a cost thing or anxiety thing, but I tell people go to annualcreditreport.com. It used to be you can pull one free credit report from each of the bureaus once a year. They now changed it. You can do once a week if you really wanted to.
Oh, wow.
So that way you can at least see what's on your credit report, because Credit Karma only covers 2 of the bureaus, not all 3, and creditors can report differently to different bureaus, and same with collections. So you kind of want a whole picture of what's on each 3 of those bureaus. So, but unfortunately they don't do a score. Where we do recommend, if you want a score, especially for a big purchase, if you don't have a lender like JJ that you're working with already, go to something like myfico.com. And what they do is they pull from all 3 bureaus and give you all the different scoring models FICO has out there, including the mortgage ones. So essentially we say if you pulled the credit report from myFICO and you had your lender pull it the same day, that mortgage score should match. So you should be able to see what you would have if you wanted to go out and purchase a home, and then you can monitor it. But that one does cost around $60 for a one-time pull, or they do have a monthly subscription as well.
Does it impact your score at all?
No, not when you pull your own credit.
Okay. All right. Well, I like the cheaper option. What was that one?
The annualcreditreport.com.
Annualcreditreport.com. Don't be fooled by the name. You can pull it every week if you want. Annualcreditreport.com. So you get that info, upload it into... what was your free tool again?
The yourcreditplanner.com.
Yourcreditplanner.com. And now you'll have this whole package on how I can improve it, how Blue Water can help me, and how I can do things on my own.
Yeah, and then links to some of our tools, like if you need a secure credit card, because not everybody is going to have someone that will add them as authorized users. So we have some reputable, companies that we recommend for a secure credit card, or maybe something like a credit builder loan, which is like a savings account you pay into that looks like a car loan or installment loan on your credit. So again, Dave Ramsey would be happy because you're not taking out any more debt. You're paying into a savings account, but it populates on your credit report like a loan.
So many great tools. Guys, if you do not remember all these different links, just go to bluewatercredit.com, reach out, and they're going to be happy to help.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on today, Sarah. It was a pleasure as always.
Yes, thank you.
So if you're anything like my parents, you're thinking about retirement, maybe you want to move out of state, or maybe just downsize here in the greater Sacramento area from that 2-story home you're living in, or maybe it's just too big and too much work. Well, reach out to my friend Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty, because he has a proven record of getting the most money possible for your home in the shortest amount of time. He even has this program where he'll get you at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. He's trustworthy. He's got great character, integrity, and he's genuine and just a nice guy. So all you got to do is Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty. Just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
A report recently came out, and it is stating that there are about 500,000 more sellers than there are buyers in today's market.
Plenty of shopping options.
Plenty of shopping
buyers.
options for buyers.
And absolutely more leverage for the buyers, right?
More leverage for the buyers. It's what's really scary is that prices are going to have to start. I mean, I don't know how prices do not come down at this point. As long as interest rates stay where they are, unless they drop down into the 3s overnight, I don't see how prices don't fall.
From your experience in working with sellers, how are they feeling? What's their emotional state when they hear news like that? What are they feeling?
So what I think a lot of this number is, this 500,000 number, are sellers who came on the market maybe in March, June, July, and are just on the market just hoping that they're buying. All it takes is one, and they're just hoping.
They're waiting 6 months or longer?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is just overpriced sellers, and they're thinking about what. So I have a client right now. He said, "Hey, Johnny, my house, the house across the street from mine, sold for X amount of dollars. It's a model match. I have the same house.
Right.
Plus I have a pool. Plus I have own solar. Plus I have a covered patio.
I have a tire swing on the tree.
Well, I mean, these are legitimate things that should improve the value. But two things have happened. One, that house sold a while ago, sold months ago, which is ancient history in today's market.
Right.
Sold months ago, and it doesn't back up to the freeway. Yours does. And so, yes, you have all these other amenities, all these other pluses to your property, but the market is just not interested in your home at its price point.
Well, and they obviously are not eager to sell then. They're okay with staying where they're at, right? Because they're not dropping the price.
So even if they are eager to sell, I'm hearing two things. The two main things I'm hearing are, one, I'll just relist in spring. I'm just going to wait till spring. And then...
Now, what do you think about that?
So as far as what I think about relisting in spring, I think you're taking a gamble. Because if there's over 500,000 extra houses on the market right now, then who's to say there's not going to be 600,000, 700,000, 800,000 more homes on the market in February, March, April.
Yeah.
And I think you're taking a risk. I think you're taking a risk that everybody else who's been sitting on the sideline, and sometimes they'll even start laughing with me. I'm saying, I'll tell them, hey, you were waiting for interest rates to come down before you were going to sell your house, right? And like, yeah, I just needed it to be out of the 7s and the low 6s. I said, great. That's what everybody else is saying. And there's people who are waiting for them to be in the 5s. And that might happen by the end of this year. And so now all of you are going to be coming on the market at the same time, competing against each other. Like, we have tools that will show us the likelihood of somebody to sell in your neighborhood. There are 15 other homes, 15 of your neighbors. These aren't like scattered across the Sacramento region. These are 15 other homes in your immediate neighborhood who indicate that they might be listing in the next 3 to 6 months.
But my home's better, and there'll be more people shopping around because interest rates are lower. There'll be more people in the spring looking for homes.
There might be. So you got to remember, sellers are also buyers. I don't have the stat, but the majority of sellers are also buyers.
Makes
because
sense.
They're not going to be homeless. Right? Where are they going to go?
Right.
So if somebody's selling their house, if there's this flood of sellers coming on the market, there's also going to be an equal proportion amount of buyers. So the problem is affordability. You need to bring people who are on the sidelines who aren't active in the market right now. You need to bring them into the market.
And they're feeling right now that the market is overpriced. Is that what you're thinking?
Affordability. That's the number one reason. They think that they're overpaying for what they're getting. And then, if you were looking at this data and you were a home buyer and you're thinking, hey, should I buy now or should I wait 3 to 6 months? My lease is up in 6 months. What should I do? Most buyers are going to say, hey, I'm going to wait and see how this plays out because home prices are falling.
Right.
So if I was
in their spot, I would say, all right, how can I leverage this? How can I use this to negotiate? How can I use this to get the best deal?
And that is what buyers are doing right now. In fact, the second half of August is about the best time if you were to wave a magic wand to buy a house, the second half of August. Why is that? I don't know. I can't speak to why it works like that.
Well, maybe homeowners or home sellers are desperate, right?
Home sellers, I mean,
they're willing to negotiate more?
Yeah, we can guess. Like, home sellers are desperate. They want the home sold before the holiday season because everybody knows as soon as the holiday season hits, the market just slows down.
Right.
And then the only people that are left are people who are looking. Like, I had a friend reach out to me yesterday, said, hey, I need to buy a house before the end of the year for tax purposes. Let me know what you got if you have any good deals, right? And so you have those deal hunters who are hungry, but they're only going to buy if it makes sense from a financial perspective. They're not emotionally invested in the process.
Right.
And so you have those people post-holidays. But in October, the sellers are like, hey, I need to get this house sold. The buyers are thinking, hey, you know what? The summer season is over. I want to be moved into my house before the holiday season. So there's this sweet spot in October towards the second half of October where you can accomplish all that.
Yeah.
If you bought a house, if you entered into a contract in the next week or 2 weeks, you could be moved in before Thanksgiving. You could be having Thanksgiving in your new house.
Yeah.
And that's very appealing to a lot of these last minute buyers.
Yeah.
So if somebody was looking to wait, I'd say, hey, you know what? Let's keep use a fishing analogy. Let's keep the line in the water until we get into about the holiday season. Then we'll hit pause and then come back on in early spring.
Like February. Don't they say like after the Super Bowl, everybody decides, all right, fire the gun. It's time. The races are off.
Market wakes up. I would say, so I don't know, when is the Super Bowl? Super Bowl 2026?
Early February.
Super Bowl.
Bad Bunny will be at the halftime show.
Oh, I heard.
49ers probably be playing the Chiefs as one. Yeah.
That's your
My prediction. No.
49ers Chiefs
not.
again?
The Niners. Most of the team will be in a nursing home, the 49ers.
No. So as far as Bad Bunny goes, I think that just makes me so mad. It's like, why the heck do they have to?
February 8th.
Yeah.
Most likely a Sunday.
So before Valentine's Day even.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What did you like about Bad Bunny?
It's like, why do they pick these people? Like, so for example, I've gone to a George Strait concert, right when he was doing his Cowboy Rides Away thing. It was supposed to be his last concert series.
Right.
He's since done many.
Right.
But anyways, there were a lot of people there. And I loved the audience. Like my biggest takeaway from that, yes, he was great. George was great. But my biggest takeaway was the audience. There were 5-year-olds, there were 7-year-olds, there were 70-year-olds, all sitting there enjoying the music. A similar experience, I went and saw Billy Joel play at in New York.
At Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square. It was the second to last concert at Madison Square, and a similar experience. There were young people, and there were people that were a little less young, right? That had been listening to his music for decades, and it just had this wide appeal. Bad Bunny, that's what irritates me, is Bad Bunny has a very narrow appeal. There's a lot of people who will enjoy it, but I would argue there's more people who won't.
I think what they're imagining is that the Super Bowl, the game, appeals to families, appeals to the regular audience that watches football. And then you've got the Gen Zers and younger who aren't interested in the game. So they're trying to pull in that audience. And that's the demographic they're shooting for.
So you think Gen Z is going to stop their beer pong and stop whatever else they're doing to watch Bad Bunny and tune in? They will,
yes.
Okay.
That's the idea. I don't think it's right. I think there should be a mixture. I think there's someone that you can find that appeals to all demographics, or have a mixture. Yeah. Have somebody that's, a hip hopper or someone that's a little bit more trendier, alongside. Do an ensemble. Have a country singer, a rock band. Bring it all together. You can accomplish that. That way, you draw in everybody, all the demographics.
Yeah, like 3 different acts.
Yeah, because it's like, oh my gosh, I think is it Jay-Z who's producing this thing, and he's pulling in all the artists that he likes. I don't know. It does draw a lot of conversation. A lot of people are talking about it. And so Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's organization, they're providing an alternative, the All-American Halftime Show.
I'll be probably flipping to that.
Yeah, you're looking at probably Kid Rock and Lee Greenwood.
Is that what they're saying?
I would guess,
So, I don't know. But
I would love to see Carrie Underwood do it as well. I think that could draw some people. Kid Rock and Carrie Underwood, I would definitely tune into that. I don't know if Carrie would be willing to do that, but...
I think well, it'd be interesting to see what happens in the next 3 to 5 years, but this choice of Bad Bunny could be the end of the supremacy of that Super Bowl halftime show. Because if Turning Point's going to do this, then why can't other people do it? And then all of a sudden you can just flip to the station that you want, watch the act that you want, and then flip back to the actual game.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
And so they've just, I think, alienated. They've taken what was one of the most valuable 15, 20 minutes in television in a year, and they've essentially, I think they've destroyed it with Bad Bunny.
But if you're not watching the halftime show, maybe you're online looking to go out and look at a few houses that afternoon. If you're not interested in the game, because that's what they say, right? Super Bowl is when people start looking for homes and start thinking about putting their home on the market.
Yep, that is how we got on the subject. So so February 8th seems a little bit early, but I would recommend having your home on the market no later than Valentine's Day if you're looking to beat the rush, because everybody thinks April, May is the best time, but honestly,
that's too late.
That's too late. You've missed the boat.
Yeah.
And so if you are going to wait, if you are going to list your house next year in 2026, I would recommend first, second week of January, have a realtor out. Go to madeformorealty.com. We'll give you a free consultation. We'll tell you how to get the house ready. We'll tell you what the house is worth, what you can net from the sale of the home. And that gives you time to kind of have the house on the market by the beginning of February.
Yeah, because you're right. A lot of people wait. They wait till the weather gets better, and then they start the conversation about what needs to be done on the house, right?
Yeah.
What repairs need to be done, what we need to do, what we need to move out. And that takes weeks, if not months.
Depending on the person, absolutely.
Right, yeah. And so it's a long process. And if you wait till March, April, then, you're in the middle of summer before you've talked to a real estate agent. And then all of a sudden you're back where you started.
So what I'd like to talk about in the next segment is about mistakes I'm seeing right now, people who are making offers and sellers who are accepting offers. There's this number one mistake, especially it's specific to this time of year, that if you are making an offer or if you're considering accepting an offer, you need to keep your eye on this one thing.
So as we enter the scary season of Halloween, I'm sure nothing scares you more than putting your house on the market, right? Because you've got all of those repairs that need to be done to get your home ready, right? Like the backyard, the front yard, not to mention everything in the house, the kitchen, the bathroom, the floors, the garage, the plumbing, the electrical. Well, guess what? Here comes Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty. They're like the Ghostbusters. They're going to take away all those fears and worries and scares when it comes to selling your home, because they have this amazing program where they can sell your home in as-is condition. In fact, even better, they're going to give you at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. That means you don't have to do any costly home repairs, no staging, no organization, no open house. I know what you're thinking. It's too good to be true, but it's not. Many folks have taken advantage of this great opportunity, but it won't last very long. There's a reason why they have over 1,000 5-star Google reviews. It's because they get homes sold fast and for the most money possible. So if you're looking for a way to make it less scary, an easy, simple, fast process, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and find out how you can get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, online at madeformorerealty.com.
So we are back, and Matt, what was that thing I was going to talk about?
I don't remember. I know there was one thing that both sellers and sellers and home buyers make, big mistake that they make going into the holidays.
Oh yeah, this one's big. This one, so I actually
don't overhype it if it's not going to be big.
I think it's big.
Okay, what's the mistake?
So recently, both my grandparents passed. Valerie and I are selling their house in Salinas. And so, this is my grandparents bought this home brand new. My dad, started living there when he was 11 years old. It's been in the family it's only been in our family. And so there's a lot of emotion, a lot of history around this little piece of property. It's nothing special, but it means a lot to us. And so what I'm about to say is something I advised my own father to do. This isn't just a cold, heartless realtor saying this. This is something that even if it was my house, this is what I would recommend. This is how I would recommend you handle the situation. And it has to do with contingent offers. Right now is a tough time for a home seller to accept a contingent offer. So what a contingent offer is, that's when a buyer says, hey, I'm interested in your house. I want to buy your house, but it's contingent on me selling my current residence. I can't afford 2 mortgages. I got to sell that one, and then I can buy yours. And we can even close them on the same day. It's fine, but I need to make sure that that first house sells to buy your house. And the problem right now that I see sellers and buyers making is that sellers are accepting those contingent offers, or buyers are making them. Get the contingency out of the equation. There are so many great programs out there to make it a non-issue.
Yeah, we've heard about many of those on the show. Yeah. I think a lot of people are still unfamiliar with them.
Buy before you sell, bridge loan. Yeah, so somebody made a contingent offer on my grandpa's house, and the agent was ancient. So old, shaky voice on the phone. He had all of his documents hand-signed, and then it looked like he had taken photos of them and then emailed them to us. He doesn't know, he's just operating like it's 1993, right? And so when all of a sudden we said, hey, here's our lender, they might be able to help you go non-contingent. He didn't understand what was going on. He was unfamiliar with the process. And of course, if he's unfamiliar, if he's uncomfortable with it, he's going to have a hard time communicating its benefits to his clients. And so what I'm seeing a lot of buyers doing is they're making contingent offers. And if you're making a contingent offer on one of my properties and your house isn't even listed, I'm going to say no. There's no
Yeah.
way. In fact, somebody did. Somebody made an offer on one of our properties, and they said, hey, well, we want 30 days to get our house in escrow, and then we'll begin the escrow process with you. I'm doing the math. I'm thinking, okay, it's already past Thanksgiving, and you're going to let us know at that point whether or not you're actually able to buy the house. So then we have to go back on the market if you're not able to sell your house, and now it's almost Christmas time. That's a horrible decision for my home.
But have people done this for years, though? Isn't nothing new?
The whole contingency thing isn't anything new, but this time of year is when it's really hard because it's this time of year. It's this thing.
Yeah.
And then here's what fires me up every single time. So we've actually had 2 or 3 different offers come through on our listings, different listings, and with the same contingency in place. And we counter them and say, hey, we're happy to do this, but we need the contingency to be shorter or no contingency on the sale of your home. Okay, we need that. If you need help doing that, we have lenders that can help you with this.
Right.
And you know how all 3 of them responded? All 3 of the agents came back and said, well, we're not sure we can even get the house on the market and sold in that period of time. Hold up. You just made an offer. You wrote this beautiful email about how your house is going to fly off the market and how it's a shoo-in. We should accept your contingent offer. And now that I'm providing any sense of resistance, you're saying, wait, what if our house doesn't sell? So you're wanting my seller to take all the risk while your buyer takes their sweet time getting the house on the market, trying to get their high price, then finally doing a price adjustment. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking and my seller is losing equity.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking to make an offer on a home right now, go non-contingent. Reach out to JJ Mack. He can help you go non-contingent. His office was the #1 office in Placer County with the buy before you sell program.
So it's called the buy before you sell program.
Buy before you sell
real quickly,
program.
in less than 30 seconds, how does it work? Real quick.
Buy before you sell gets you qualified for your replacement property without selling your current property. I did in like 8 seconds. So you don't need to sell your current property to buy the next one. So reach out to JJ Mack. Buy before you sell. Your offer will get accepted. It will save you thousands of dollars. You won't have to there's no risk to you. You won't have to overbid to get your offer accepted. The seller's going to be happy to move forward with you, and you can be in that house before Thanksgiving. Buy before you sell. If you have any questions, just Google madeformorerealty.com. We're happy to help.